You have to know the past to understand the present. A quote by American scientist Carl Sagan. Understanding where the mental health counseling field was centuries ago is important to us today so that we know where we've come from and how we've came to be, but also so we might be able to anticipate where the field of counseling is going in the future. My name is Molly. I'll be representing our group this week. We covered pages 22 through 27 from Chapter 2, which largely focuses on the history of counseling and how it emerged. The earliest signs of interest in mental health date all the way back to 8000 BCE. Archaeologists have found human skulls with kind of big chunks of bone missing from them, which might indicate that people back then were able to correlate abnormal behavior with the brain. And the book also covered many other milestones, from the Greeks to the Romans to American counseling history. But a large trend throughout the book that was apparent to us was the change from a biological, medically minded model kind of to a more morally humanistic kind of model that focuses on the person holistically, kind of like what we have as a wellness model today. A large pioneer in that change was Frank Parsons. He did his work in the early 1900s, and he focused on vocational counseling with youth. So this was kind of a paradigm shift from what models existed before Frank. So now, in the early 1900s, the average person could receive mental health counseling as vocational counseling. Frank understood that counseling didn't need to be reserved for those with severe diagnoses or conditions. It could be for anyone just going through some developmental challenges, which was important to getting us to where we are today. Our group had largely agreed that this chapter impacted us because it solidified that clinical mental health counseling was where we wanted to be. So our section of the reading also covered different interrelated areas of counseling. So it discussed psychiatry, social work, psychology, and of course clinical mental health counseling. So it kind of grounded us again in our decision that this is where we wanted to be. A critical thinking question that we have for our peers is, why do you think it took so long for people to become interested in the mental health of children? How come it had to start with Frank and his vocational counseling in the early 1900s?